Hi to Hotcorn. This is Jason Isaacs coming to you, not live, from the Monaco Television Festival, which is pretty glamorous. It looks better than this when you get outside.
How was for you to join another successful franchise? And are you a sci-fi geek yourself?
Well, first of all, I wasn't joining a successful franchise because no one has made any Star Trek TV for a long time. So we were part of a new series, and everybody was terrified that nobody would watch or that people didn't like it. But I thought the story was so strong and it was so different from the previous Star Treks that had been that the comparisons were irrelevant. I said no originally. I didn't want to be a captain of a Star Trek vessel because I'd seen the great captains of my youth. And then they showed me the scripts and told me their ideas, and I thought, well, that's so different. It's such a different approach, and it's such a story for our times, and so political in so many ways that I couldn't say no.
So do you think that actually sci-fi and fantasy is a metaphor of our modern days?
Well, all stories are metaphors. I mean, so sci-fi and fantasy are a great prism through which to examine our world. No question that the original Star Trek, it was born out of the civil rights movement. So it had the first interracial kiss, they had a Russian on deck, and a whole bunch of taboos that they broke. And they were dealing with the things that were happening in the streets, even though it was set in the 24th century. And that's still true of Star Trek, but it's true of Harry Potter. All stories are metaphors, apart from realistic, gritty, naturalistic ones. I think that sometimes the best way to examine our own lives or think about our own lives is through the prism of fantasy or things far from ourselves. So Shakespeare, Ibsen, Strindberg, Chekhov, the reason we revisit these stories is because they talk to us about our lives.
And would you like to have a friend like your captain in real life, or maybe a leader, or if maybe you had a leader, or mentor?
I've never had a mentor, I don't think, unless it's my wife. And I'm very wary of strong leaders. If we look around the world today, we've got some very strong leaders, almost cults of personality, who are coming to the fore. One in the White House, obviously, but there are strong right-wing populist governments popping their ugly heads up all over Europe. And being an actor and playing so many characters, one of the things I'm sure of is that anybody else who seems sure of themselves is bluffing. You know, we're all improvising in this world and pretending to be grown up and pretending to have the answers. And people who are 120% definite have the answers are the ones we should be running away from.
You just mentioned Harry Potter. I cannot not ask you something about it. Every year, J.K. Rowling apologized for some character death. Which death was more meaningful to you?
Oh, you know, there's very little children's literature that doesn't have death and tragedy and despair at the centre of it, going back to Grimm's fairy tales and beyond. So I know that Jo apologises, but what she means is, I know it was upsetting for people. There's nothing to apologise for. You need to upset people. Kids are prepared for life by stories. In fact, adults are prepared for life by stories, and stories need those highs and lows.
I know that some Harry Potter actors have a common chat on WhatsApp. Are you in it?
There's a Harry Potter WhatsApp chat between the actors. No, I've not been invited. I'm mortified. The truth is, of course, that the main kids are 20 years younger than me, and they don't want sad grown-ups joining in their little WhatsApp group. They'll be very upset if I ask to join.
So they are not racist with the Slytherin?
No, they're not. I don't think it's about me being Slytherin. I think it's about me being an old fart.
Have you a favorite spell yourself? And did you realize that people around you are a little bit, how can I say, scared?
Well, firstly, no one's ever scared, either of me as an actor, or given the character I played, but particularly nobody's scared of Lucius Malfoy. That's one of the great things about him. The reason people don't like him is he's a coward, he's ineffective, he's impotent. He wants to be powerful, but his desperation for power is repulsive. It's repulsive to Voldemort, it's repulsive to his wife and kid. He never really achieves anything. Harry's not scared of him, no one's scared of him. So, no, people are not wary of me. People love those characters. They hate him because they remind us of that worst part of ourselves that seeks approval. He's always seeking approval and status, and he never gets it.
But which is your favorite villain, and which is your favorite hero? Since both Star Trek and Harry Potter are portraying some kind of different heroes, and people need some reassurance, some in their life.
I don't. You know, funnily enough, as an actor, the parts I play, and also the things that I watch, I never think of people as villains and heroes. If you can think of them as villains and heroes, then they're badly written and badly directed and badly acted. All these characters are real and human. The ones that scare us the most are the ones we recognise. So, Lucius Malfoy, for instance, is a racist. You know, the guy in The Patriot is a guy trying to win the war and dehumanizing the enemy so that he can kill children. Anybody I know in real life or on screen who's been a proper hero is someone who's overcome their own prejudice or their own cowardice. So good stories don't have those black and whites.
Just the final question, can you say hi to the readers with your favorite line on the Lucius Malfoy, or maybe a line that you are very attached to in your career?
So I'm asked to do Lucius Malfoy's voice a lot, and the thing is that Lucius Malfoy lives in that world. And if me as Jason, without the wig and the elf, do the voice and do it badly, I feel like it's slightly diluting or prostituting the integrity of that story. So I never do it. But my favourite line from the Star Trek series was "Universal law is for lackeys, context is for kings." And that justifies all kinds of immoral behaviour. The ends justifying the means. I thought it was a brilliant line, and I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Grazie.